Mind Gap Podcast.
Hey everybody, welcome to Mind Gap Podcast. I'm Doug.
I'm Justin. And Doug, what is your favorite mythological animal?
Ooh, it's probably gonna be a Medusa, if I have to be honest.
So wait, we're calling Medusa an animal?
I mean, listen, she's got snakes for hair, so
Is it the snake hair or
Snake
is it
hair?
Medusa?
well, Medusa's kind of a creature,
One will cause a lot of comments,
right?
and one, yeah.
I mean, if I have to go mythological creatures and beings, a Medusa is obviously
So
pretty
why
impressive.
Medusa? Why are you into Medusa?
Well, because Medusa it's kind of an inside joke between Jill and I, because we used to play this game called Age of Mythology, a board game. Mm-hmm. And you could, if you are the Greeks, you can get a Medusa as a creature to fight on your side. Mm-hmm. And the key thing with the Medusa is the Medusa wins all ties. So if you're fighting her, she has average rolls. You have to basically roll against each other to see who wins. So tying is actually pretty frequent. So if you are fighting a Medusa and you tie with her, she wins automatically.
Okay,
so,
I like that. I like that.
So in that context, like Jill and I will always be like, Medusa, and we always just turn to each other. She goes, Medusa wins all ties. That's what we always say to each other. It's an inside joke. But also Medusa is just kind of a fascinating character, a tragic character, right? Who is shunned by the gods, most likely because, Zeus is, throwing his dick around, and Hera's like, stay away from my husband. And then she turns, this bitch into a, some crazy lady with snakes for hair. But when she looks at people, they turn to stone. How cool is that, man? Like, that's pretty crazy. That's wild.
It is. Look, it's a badass. It is a tragic character, because talk about having to shun yourself.
Not only that, like, you're living alone, man.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you've got you're putting yourself out. You're hermiting it.
And the only way to kill yourself that way is to look into a mirror. And if you look into a mirror, you turn yourself to stone.
You turn to stone. When you're alone. You turn to stone. I would play the ELO song right now, but we don't have the rights. We don't have the money to pay for that.
No, we don't. We only have 7.7 seconds of it either. So
Oh, I should have prepped. I didn't know that was going to be your answer. I would have prepped.
You didn't fucking think about that one, did you, bro?
The Kraken is one
terrifying.
It's just a terrifying. In my mind, I'm like, that one, just because not only is the sea terrifying by itself, but now you put the fucking Kraken down there, and good fucking luck. If we're talking more scalable, more manageable Medusa level, the Minotaur is one that I've always thought is like, again, anytime they're depicted, I'm like, that's a fucking terrifying entity right there. Just terrifying looking.
Yeah, I totally
and usually
agree.
they're just all rage machines.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so,
no,
I don't know. It's terrifying.
Yeah, it's funny because speaking of the Kraken, Natalie and she often brings up the Megalodon, and I'm like, I'm so glad that thing's dead. I'm so glad that thing's dead. And she always asks why. I'm like, we've been over this. If that thing existed, I would never go near the ocean. That thing was enormous. That thing was massive, and I would never trust being in a boat in the ocean ever.
Now, again, you think about it, the odds, the amount of surface area that water covers, the amount, the sheer size of the ocean, the odds that you would ever run in face to face. Because if you ever run in, well, you might have. You spent a little bit more time. Have you ever face to face with any shark while you've been in the water?
No.
So the odds that you would have run into a megalodon, not super great. But on the off chance that you're on that one boat, that's not a dice I want to roll.
If I'm on a boat in the ocean, it's probably going to be a fucking cruise ship. That thing's massive, and that probably looks like a giant fucking snack for a megalodon. I'm like, no thank you. And also, you know what my odds are of running into a megalodon on land are? 0%.
Is it zero, Doug?
Yeah. You're like, are you sure about that?
Is it?
Yeah.
Is it? Well, what about the ones? Look, evolution, Doug. Megalodons, if they were still around, odds are they would have developed legs, and then we would have had street sharks.
I don't think that's how that works, but
I'm pretty sure that's how it works.
Street Sharks! Street Sharks! They'd be spray painting all sorts of shit, man. You know what to do with it.
Did you see the recent, the resurfaced commercial where, I don't even know if it was a commercial. It might have been just like a toy fair or something where Vin Diesel, a very young Vin Diesel, was hawking Street Sharks.
No.
It is something to behold.
Wow.
I will say, go look it up, peoples. I don't know, man. Megalodon, they're saying a megalodon is just larger than a school bus, so I think you'd be fine. I don't think that thing.
A great white is terrifying to me, let alone
but
a
if you're
fucking
on,
school bus.
I'm just saying, man. If
Justin,
you're on
I went
a
to
cruise ship,
I went to the Field Museum where they had an exhibit on the megalodon, and they had its mouth. All right, they had its jaws in there. Like, no, thank you. Hard
it's
pass.
not taking down a cruise ship, Doug.
Oh, my bad. Okay.
At best, a little water comes on board. At best.
Dude, that would be, good Lord, that would be so horrifying. That'd be absolutely horrifying. That's just, the idea of any massive creature like that living in the water, because the water is already something you're out of your element in. You're not able to navigate that like the creatures down there are. So you're just like, oh, fuck. Like, you're not going to outswim them, you know?
Oh, God, no. Fuck it.
You're not going to beat them in a physical contest. Like, it's just not going to happen, you know?
All right, if a megalodon attacks kids, punch it in the nose.
Right? Yeah, that's all that sort of stuff. It's like, if there's a nuclear blast, get under your desks, children. It's like, okay, thanks.
What we should do for a future episode is we should look up all the advice, the advice that didn't age well.
Yes, that would be a great
just go
one.
through like what didn't age well that we used to tell people as a certainty.
Right.
You know?
And not necessarily to make fun of them, because listen, we all learn stuff, we evolve, but the idea of, people like, this is what you got to do,
right.
If you want to get, I'm rewatching The King's Speech because I haven't watched it since it won an Oscar, and I'm like, is this movie still good? And at one point, this, royalty is trying to learn, he has a stutter, and the doctor's like, smoke cigarettes, it'll loosen up your lungs. And it's like, this is what people used to think. They're like, yes, have some fresh cigarettes, it'll put your mind at ease. It's like, that's bad for you, but we didn't know that at the time. So, what are you going to do? You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
Did the movie hold up, though?
I'm not all the way through it yet, but I gotta say, it's fucking compelling, and it shouldn't be. It's one of the most boring premises for a movie. It's like, here is the Duke of York. Duke of York has a stammer. Watch him fix it. It's like, okay. But it's actually like, hey, it's kind of interesting for some reason. I can't explain. Oscar worthy? I don't know, but it's not bad. It's not too bad. So. Yeah. I saw it. I'm like, I ought to give this another try. I haven't seen it in a while, so always like to check on that to see if it's worth the damn. But hey, big news!
This is a Mind Gap exclusive.
We hit over 400 subs on YouTube.
Woo!
We did it.
I no longer, man. I'm really missing my soundboard.
Yeah. I got us. Don't worry,
I know.
Nice.
I'm gonna come.
Ooh, mommy.
We got him,
You know what? I worry that if I had my soundboard, it would just be one too many.
You know what? You feel like we'd lose a little class if you had one too. You know
Absolutely,
what I mean?
Yep.
You gotta get your dick out.
So, hey, thank you to everyone that's subscribed. We appreciate it. We just passed that 400 mark today, so thank you very much. Appreciate you. If you haven't already and you're listening to this, head over to youtube.com/mindgappodcast. Hit that subscribe button. It means the world to us. This just helps us inch a little bit closer to, possibly earning money by doing this on a regular basis. And it costs you nothing. So we appreciate you. We appreciate all the love. We appreciate all the support. Thank you. Very kind of you. We love you. And here's to the next milestone, which is 500. So
I love it.
Pew, 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 pew.
It makes me happy. It makes me happy that people aren't just running for the hills when they hear us. Well, at least 400 people aren't. Maybe the tens of thousands are, but
right. At least they're like, you know what? These guys aren't bad. Subscribe. That means a lot. I appreciate that. And I can never gauge it. Like I released a clip today from last week. It was that the part where I was talking about how interesting enough, it's happening again right now as I speak, where the Apple remote notification's coming up, and I'm like, I want to press fart. I just posted that. It got almost 2,500 views. I'm like, never would have guessed that one, but hey, whatever. It's cool. You know,
it's always like we talked about this the other day when we were prepping. We said it's always it's the most inconsequential things. We'll sit there and we'll figure out like, oh, we're gonna bring this thing up, and I have a feeling this is gonna generate a lot of ire or a lot of activity in the comment section, and it just fucking dies a lonely death. And then the most random offhand things that we say are the ones that catch a little bit of relatively speaking, for us, they catch fire. And we get 12 comments about something. And we're like, whoa, people are totally fired up about this.
Still, one of my favorite ones of all time was just, we were doing Dungeon Karens, and Kaya was trying to roll the dice in Tabletop Simulator. And that one just continues to get views. Not a ton, but over time, it consistently gets views every single day. It just comes across people's feed, and people watch it. And I'm like, I listen, it's one of my favorite moments. It's great. But the fact that people are like, ha, they keep watching it. I'm like, okay, cool. Works for me.
I love that one is aging too. Like it's like a fine wine.
A lot of these like will hit a peak and then they just stop. That one just keeps going, man. It's just a slow trickle, and I'm here for it. I love it. So
that's a testament to the Dungeon Karens. It really is.
Dungeon Karens, man. God, it's been a while. It's been a while since we did that. That was fun. Yeah. That was a good time.
That was a good time.
That was a good time. All right, Justin, November's a special month.
I was going to say, speaking of good time, butt stuff.
There we go. I didn't know how crass to take this. I know I joked about this in the pre-production, but I was like, I don't want to be the one that ruins a good time. So
I will. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
Yes. No, but November, I just can't stop reading what we have on here.
Why don't you tell them what we have on there, Justin?
It says November, butt month.
Yep. Just so I remembered, that was my notes to make sure that we talked about this, was November Butt Month. So, November Justin, what is November Butt Month?
It is Men's Health Awareness Month. So I wanted to just real quick, we don't have to spend a lot of time on this, but last year I had a prostate cancer diagnosis hit my family, not me, but someone close to me in my family. Was diagnosed with prostate cancer. They went through the surgery. They're all clear. They've been clear for a year now, so absolutely fantastic. Nothing to worry about. But this did bring up, Doug and I just both turned 40, and they say the new, it used to be when you were in your 50s, they've lowered it now to 45 as the recommended age range because of how close this was to me. I am now going to. I've slept on this. I still need to find a primary now that I'm in Grand Rapids. But as soon as I do, I'm still 4.5 years away from needing to do this. But I'm gonna go and I'm gonna get a prostate exam and just get all the tests done, do the full workup, and just see what's going on back up in there. And I would strongly recommend to anyone who is over the age of 45 who has not yet, or it's been years since you've had a prostate exam, I would strongly recommend going in, getting it done. It can truly, truly, truly save a life. So please, please, please go do that. The person that had this in my family, he was not aware. He was just kind of feeling bad due to some. It was this domino effect of health issues. Went in to get a tooth fixed. Before you have oral surgery, they'll take your blood pressure, so that when they administer anesthetics, nothing happens. When they did that, his blood pressure was insanely high. And the dentist said, not only am I not doing this today, you're also going immediately to the ER, and you're going to get checked out because you are a ticking time bomb. The fact that you're standing right now is a miracle. And so he went, and that led to a series of tests that eventually led to him finding out that. So outside of himself, he didn't realize how bad he felt. He was like this. It just slowly became the norm of, I guess this is just how I feel now. And he didn't realize until he was put on blood pressure medication how much better he felt. And then after all the other stuff that had happened, now he's in wonderful health. He's taking care of himself a lot better, and he's going to see the doctor regularly. And you don't know. You don't know what you don't know. So go get it checked out. Go have a special date with your doc, and have him go up in there and make it happen. It can save your life, and that's all I'm going to say about that.
Some people may say, treat yourself.
Look, to each their own, and I say more power to you.
And Justin, I'd like you to consider something as well.
Please.
When you go and get this, checked out, for the sake of just full, understanding of this process, I'd like you to not go under for it. I'd like you to be awake for it so you can actually
get the full experience.
Just get no, because I was listening to a podcast for Steve-O of Jackass. Like he did that. He would get a colonoscopy like while he didn't want to go under, and I was like, now that you mentioned that, I'm like, I feel like this is the path for you as well, to be like, just a one time to be like, what's this really like,
I respect that. We'll see where I'm at, Doug. We'll see where I'm at. I will provide
Listen,
a
I'm
full
a parent.
report back.
I know that means no. Okay, I say the same thing to Natalie. Yeah, we'll see. That means no. I got you.
We'll see. Maybe he'll forget by the time it comes up.
Right.
Yeah. No, when I go do it, I will give a full report back because I honestly don't know everything that is involved with it. So we'll go through and we'll give I'll give a top to bottom, no pun intended, or pun intended, top to bottom report about like, here's the process to kind of destigmatize and, kind of shed some light on, what it actually looks like, because it is, it's a big deal, but at the same time, it's a pretty routine thing that happens all the time. So, yeah.
I've heard some people talk about it. I thought it was like, cool, go in there, take care of business and you're good to go. But I guess it's like you got to fast for a long period of time, and then you got to go in. It's like, do you have a ride home after this sort of situation?
Yeah.
Like it's no joke. I'm like, oh.
There's enemas involved where you're cleaning yourself out. It's a whole thing.
Which makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, years ago, in 2009, I did the Chicago Triathlon, and I went from, again, similar to when I did the marathon, I went from no exercise to, hey, I should run a triathlon because that's what you do. And I was in training, I had developed blood in my stool, and I think it was because of I was doing so many miles on the bike from nothing and so much running. So I think my body was just, it got shocked into hey, we're going to kind of jettison everything. And so it wasn't good. I'm sure I ruptured or tore something. Nothing was bad. I went in and got what was called a sigmoidoscopy, where similarly, they stick a camera up there. So I went through that process, at least, of fasting, enemas, cleaning myself out. And that was very not fun. And afterwards, I'm very glad that someone was there. Beth was there to drive me home. I will say, you've never had the benefit to this is you have an unlimited free pass to fart. Like, you don't have to fit anywhere. You can be in the middle of fucking, whatever, a restaurant. It happens just like, I just had a procedure. It's all good.
I just fart anyway. Like,
unapologetically in the middle of public.
I mean, most time, yeah. I mean,
well, you're a special case, so
I am. That reminds me tonight.
Here we go.
Natalie was making her lunch, and she's getting stuff out, and she's like, "Hey, can you cut me off some cheese?" And I was like, "Oh man, man, I really wish I had to fart right now." Because like, yeah, I'll cut the cheese. So I did all that, and as I'm like a minute or two later, I feel one coming on. I go, "Hey, wait! Before you put your lunch away," I go, "Do you want some extra cheese?" And she looked at me, she goes, "Yeah." And I let out an aggressive fart. And I didn't think it was going to be this bad. It was pretty intense. And it was kind of like a, no, that's not enough. It's probably more like it was pretty,
it talked.
It was
it
pretty
had a personality.
intense. And she just like put herself into the fridge and held the door to her face.
See, which again is good advice, because if Indiana Jones 4 taught us anything, it was when a nuclear bomb goes off, you put yourself in a fridge.
Yeah, I have to admit, she was like, she tried not to laugh, but we both agreed it was pretty funny. And I was like, listen,
I'm just glad there's a small part of me, Doug, and you're a good father and a good human, so I know you wouldn't have done this, but there was a very small sliver that I thought you were going to say, "Do you want some more cheese?" She handed you the container. And you blasted right in there and then closed the lid for freshness and popped it right back in the fridge.
Listen, that's for when she gets to be 16 and gets to be a real pain in the ass. Well, she's 7. Like, she doesn't need that now. That's
she doesn't
like,
deserve that yet.
That's definitely a therapy session in the future. When she's 16
teenage.
and being a little shit, I'll be like, "Hey, here, let me get you something for it." Ha! Like.
Jill writes her a note. Doug gives her something else.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no, I was like, yeah, you know what? Part of me is happy that you thought, because I saw your body language was like, oh God, he's gonna fart in her lunch. You know, you knew that was a possibility, but I'm like, I'm not that bad yet. You know,
I rolled the dice and it came up. You would have had it would have had to be a very large roll for that to have happened. Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta say, man, Natalie has been really fucking funny over the last like few weeks. Like it's clicking for her, man. She's just been landing some really funny bits, some really funny jokes. Just like she's got them locked and loaded, and I'm just like, yes. And you know, some of them are just dumb, like kids just saying dumb things. But I'm like, still, she's got the timing. She's got the placeholder.
She's structuring it. Like you can see the mathematics.
I was like, you're only going to get better at this. Like, and you're going to land some real good, funny bits once you have the vocabulary, once you have the experience. You're going to be dunking. You're going to doing some slam dunks.
That makes me really happy to.
Oh, you have no idea how happy it makes me. I'm just like, that's my fucking girl. Like, where I legitimately laugh because she's so goddamn funny. I'm like, oh my God, it's so good. And she also rolls with it a little bit better now too. Like she understands that I mean, like the other night she was sitting there just like watching TV, and like I just sat down and then I just stared at her while she watched the TV, and she was all of a sudden she kind of like shot her eyes over and she's like, oh my God, Dad is staring at me. And she like slowly like shoot glances over at me, and I was just like staring at her, and she starts going, and then she just grabs a bag of Skittles and just like hands it to me. Almost like, leave me alone, please. Right. Like, here's some Skittles.
Is this payment?
I was like, I wasn't thinking about that, but I will take those. Yes, thank you. Like, it was she's just, I don't know, man.
She offered something into the scene.
Exactly. She's just like, there's a raging animal in front of me. Offer it sustenance. Here you go. And I was like, oh, cool. And she's just, I don't know, man. She has some good bits. Like, and it's unfortunate because a lot of them, I'm like, that is so fucking funny. I got to remember that, and then they're just gone. I can't remember what it is, what she said. But Jesus Christ, even Jill's like, God damn, she's slinging some bangers right now. Like, it is really, really good. I'm like, that's what I'm talking about. My girl's gonna have a sense of humor.
Well, it's funny because when she was younger, you and I talked about this ad nauseum on and off air. But we talked about how fascinating it was to watch a human being start putting things together. Like when she was a real little kid, you were talking about how she was figuring out like just basic motor skills and how like this does this and then like cause and effect. And if I do this, that falls and that, you know, and then we started to talk about how she was asking really good questions, like around like 4 years old or so. She was starting to be like, man, like, that's a thinker. I don't know how she figured that one out, or she was really starting to put things that were happening in her life together. And then like this is the next progression of like, wow, she's starting to figure out what is humor? What is this abstract concept? And how do I wield it properly? And it never ceases to amaze me to watch the next iteration of that of a kid figuring it out, you know, whatever it is.
She's leveling up in certain ways. Like there's still some things where she's easy to make laugh at this point in time. It's not too hard to make a 7-year-old laugh, you know, with a lot of things. It's pretty easy to play into that sort of stuff. Oftentimes you just make yourself the butt of a joke, or you just do some physical humor where you're like, oh my gosh, I got hurt. And they're like, ha ha ha. You know, it goes over pretty easy. Right. Or you just make fart jokes and it's like, you know, doesn't even have to make sense. You know, just say the word fart and they're like, ha ha, fart. And it's like, yeah. But she's just, her timing and her understanding of like, you know, where she can just fire something off. She did something at dinner the other day, something along the lines of, she said something and Jill tried to correct her and Natalie was like, that wasn't what I was talking about, and gave her like finger guns. And I'm like, oh my God. Like she just didn't know. It wasn't like aggressive or what. It was just so this like, I wasn't talking about that. I'm like, oh yes. And Jill and I were both like, okay. She did it with such a goofy look on her face. I'm like, oh my God, that's my fucking daughter.
That's not what I was talking about. I love it.
I'm like, yes. Let's get more of that. That's what I'm talking about.
I'm going to challenge you to work in, hopefully within the next couple of days, because I really want to hear about this. I'm going to challenge you to work in a knock-knock joke to her. Okay. I want to say, I feel like this will go over well. We'll see. If you feel a fart coming on, knock. Who's there? Fart who, and then blast.
Jill, I just want to not condone this, but I'll see if I can pull it off.
Great.
Yes.
Why will she not condone it? I'm curious.
Jill gets grossed out by that kind of stuff,
Oh,
Or,
yeah?
There's been times where I go, doot. I jump up and fart, like Super Mario. And I was like, she'll love that. She doesn't. I learned that.
Jill or Natalie?
Jill.
Okay, cool.
I was like, yeah, Jill did not find that entertaining. Doing theatrical farts is not, she's not into it. So regular farts she'll tolerate because I'm just like, hey, man, I got to do it. But yeah, she's not.
Theatrical flatulence is not for this one.
When I go for like the big grand gestures followed by a fart, it doesn't do anything for her. So I learned that. And
well, hey, look, this knock joke's not for Jill. It's for Natalie.
It's for me, really, is what it's for.
It's for you. It's for us. This is where the Mind Gap community demands it.
Because Natalie also understands knock jokes. The only one she knows one legit one, and the other ones she just like. It's just nonsense.
That's a kid knock jokes are the best.
Yeah.
Where they just like knock who's there. They say something that thing who, and then it's like
Fart City. Yeah,
I'm
like okay.
Well, the structure's there. You just got to work on the content.
We got to work on we got to tighten that up a little bit. Her
What's
favorite
the one that she knows that she likes?
Knock.
Who's there?
Interrupting cow.
Interrupting cow.
Who?
I love it.
She saw it from a movie, so she does that all the time. Then she does it. She's like, "Hey, Dad, knock." I'm like, "Who's there?" She's like, "Interrupting cow." I'm like, "You already did this." It loses its flavor real quick. So, anyway, I'm proud of my daughter.
Have you done the banana orange Gillette or orange Gillette? I didn't say banana.
Ugh, I hate it.
Have you never heard that one?
I feel like I have, and I've probably just shut it out. I put it in the dark place,
It's such a kids fucking go gaga over it because it's anything that repeats,
Yeah.
It's all about repetition in the joke. We'll go over. I'll line you up with some really shit knock jokes, and you can rattle them off to her.
It just reminded me of a clip I made a long time ago of you doing a joke about. I don't remember how it goes. It was something about something hiding in trees, and then like.
Oh my God, that's right! It was the elephant joke. Oh fuck! Wow, what was that?
I hated how much it got me because it was a two-parter. It was a
three-parter. Yeah,
it was a three-parter.
Elephant and tree joke. Hold on, I gotta see.
I remember I had an elephant and a giraffe.
It says, how do you hide an elephant in a cherry tree? You paint its balls red. Have you ever seen an elephant in a cherry tree? No? See, it works. And how can you... what's the sound... Oh, what is it? What's the sound... Oh, what's the loudest sound in the jungle? A giraffe eating cherries out of a cherry tree.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
I kept going like, what? And then you got to the third part, and I was like, God damn it, you got me.
I completely forgot about that one. I love it.
I was like, that was one of my favorite clips that we put together, because it was like, you fucking got me.
Oh, man.
Respect.
Have you, when you tell, are you a joke teller? I mean,
Not really.
Feel like I don't ever really hear you. In our time that we've known each other, never really told you. When I was younger, I used to really like trying to memorize and tell jokes, but I would get so nervous during the telling of it, like the setup, the story portion of it, that it started to become not fun because I would get such anxiety of because I had ruined just enough of them to know what it felt like. You know what I mean? Like once you bomb a few times, you're like, oh man, if I don't nail this setup, this is going to go bad. And then you start thinking about that. And so as I've become an adult, I have, I would say post early 20s. That might be when I started to kind of like wrap it up.
Yeah.
I can't deal with the stress anymore of telling story-based jokes.
Couldn't be a stand-up then.
I could not be a stand-up. If they were mine, I feel like it'd be one thing, but memorizing other people's jokes and trying to get like the specific nuances.
There was a joke I learned in college that is good if you have patience. And if you have the patience and you have the willpower and you have the good timing, it could be a real killer joke. But I was never that good. I was never patient with it, so it never really landed.
Do you want to give us a summation of what it is?
I'll try it and see what you think about it. So Frank is driving in his truck. He's driving along the coast, and he's just got this flatbed truck. And he's driving along. He hears a bang, 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 and he looks in the back of his truck, in the bed of his truck, and there's this cookie. And he stops the truck. pulls over, gets out, grabs his cookie. He's like, look here, cookie. You keep it down back there. I'm warning you. He puts the cookie back in the truck. He gets back in. He starts driving. Roads get a little curvy. Cookie starts sliding from side to side, making some noise. Frank's like, God damn it. He pulls over the side of the road, gets out again. He's like, Cookie, I warned you. This is the last time. Picks him up and goes, you do this again, you're going to fucking regret it. Puts the cookie back in his truck. Gets back in, drive along, smooth sailing. But before you know it, it's a gravel road. Starts driving on the gravel road, potholes, ba-boom, ba-boom, ba-boom. He stops and he's like, that's it, Cookie! I've had it up to here! He takes a cookie and just chucks it into the ocean. Did I not do it?
I don't think I got it.
I didn't get it? I didn't get it, huh? Still working on the timing, I guess.
That was funny. Good one, man.
Thanks, man. Thanks.
Look, I don't blame you for that. I truly feel like I did not understand.
I don't think it's a you thing. I think it's my delivery.
I don't know. We'll put it. Look, anyone who's watching this, the full. I don't know if this is going to make a clip or not, but anyone who's watching the full episode here, if you got that, please comment. Very good chance that I'm the dummy here. But yeah, I missed that one.
It's all good. It's all good. It's fine. It's me. I still don't got it after all these years. After all these years, I can't get it. It's on me. So it's fine. It's fine. Anyway.
Is it because he had it up to here because it was in the ocean?
He wasn't in the ocean. He's driving. See, it's fucking details. I'm not getting it. It's not getting it. Anyway, I had a revelation recently.
Doug, let's talk about Star Wars.
I had a revelation recently
Yeah.
About Star Wars. I was rewatching Rogue One, which I have to say might be one of the best Star Wars movies.
I think easily be convinced of that.
Man, that is a good movie. It's so good. I remember you and I went to see that in the theater, and I was very impressed seeing it that time. And I think over time now, and especially in the span of what we've seen, solid fucking movie. And people keep telling me Andor is great, and I think I need to take time to go and watch Andor, because I was also like, great, it's a prequel to Rogue One. I know what happens in Rogue One.
Right.
They're all gonna die.
Right.
Spoiler alert. But I was rewatching this. It's like, God, this is a good fucking movie. It's really, really good. And in this, if you haven't seen it, the whole conceit is how the rebels get a hold of the Death Star plans and essentially try to get them to, somewhere where Princess Leia can get them or whatever. It's a connective tissue between episode 3 and episode 4, but very close, almost like right before episode 4 takes place.
Right.
And
very much right before episode 4.
Yeah, it's like literally place. It's like a lead into episode 4. And in it, Ben Mendelsohn plays this Empire guy named Director Krenk. Is that Krenk? Krennic. Director Cranky Pants. Director Krennic. And he is tasked with basically getting the Death Star operational, which involves harvesting kyber crystals off of the planet of Jeddah, or the city of Jeddah. I don't know. It's hard to tell what's what anymore. But basically, he is trying to get the Death Star up and running and operational. And he's been running into setbacks because of the rebel, insurgent Sol Guerrera, who's been causing trouble. He's been sabotaging shipments. He's very militant. And he's been running behind. And at one point, Krennic is confronted by his boss, Governor Tarkin. And Governor Tarkin is just so dismissive of Director Krennic. He's like, pretty soon I'll have to give the Emperor an update on your progress, and he will not be pleased that we are being delayed. And Krennic's like, I'm trying. The rebel forces are your responsibility. He's just basically giving him shit. He's basically like, get this up and running, or I'm going to tell my boss on you, and then you're really going to be in trouble. And I had a moment. I've been kind of going through a moment. I haven't realized this, but for probably 3 years now, where I'm really having a big problem with corporate America and bad leaders in general, and how shitty leaders really ruin things. And I had this moment while I'm watching this. I was like, Governor Tarkin's a shitty manager. Like, he's got a direct report who's coming to him he's got a very difficult task. He's got to get the Death Star up and running. That's no easy feat. This is it's mistaken to be a moon. I mean, that's how big the station is. He's got to get the weapon systems operational. He's dealing with insurgents. They're also trying to keep it hush-hush because they don't want the Imperial Senate to know what's going on. Otherwise, there may be political fallout. So he's got a lot of responsibility here, and his boss is like, meh, hurry up. The Emperor says it has to be done by this date, and you're running behind. And in my view, Director Krennic is like, I'm trying. I'm having some issues. And maybe to Governor Tarkin's point, he's like, I've given you ample resources. Why aren't you getting this done? But the point is, Tarkin's essentially like, hey, man, I'm trying to meet this deadline. I want to meet this deadline. And Tarkin's not giving him anything. And if anything, Tarkin's like, I'm going to tell my boss on you. If you don't, the boss, the CEO, I'm going to go to the CEO and be like, hey, my direct report is fucking up, man. Like, what are we going to do about this?
Right.
And I was like, in any other operation, if my direct report is sucking and I'm not supporting him and I'm going to be like, hey, I'm going to go to my boss and you're going to be in real fucking trouble, buddy. I go to my boss would be like, a good boss would be like, well, if he's having trouble, what are you doing to support him? Mm-hmm. Right?
What are you doing about it?
Right. What are you doing about it?
Why am I hearing about this?
Yeah. Like, I understand we're falling behind on the project. Okay, so what's the issue? Like, oh, well, it's his fault. Okay, well, what's he running into? Well, we've got these insurgents who are fucking up stuff on Jeddah. We can't get the kyber crystals out as quickly as we can. And, we've had all these setbacks and things like that. Things that are, outside of control. But, whatever. It's like, okay, so what are you doing to support Director Krennic in this endeavor? Because this is an all hands on deck thing, guys. All right. Like, we came together, the all hands. All right. We set our quarterly goals. We set our yearly goals. This was in the 5-year plan. Okay.
Right. We knew what our projected EBITDA was.
That everything, this is one of the key objectives. All right. For our organization, for the Empire's organization, we've got to get this thing online to make sure that we can hold sway over the galaxy. And we're falling behind. What's happening? All right. What are our strengths? What are our weaknesses? What are our opportunities and what are our threats? Let's sit down and as the Emperor, why am I having this conversation with you, Governor Tarkin? I mean, this was all covered in your annual compliance managerial training. Like, you've gone through this. You went through the training. You did your DISC assessment. Your communication style. Director Krennic's communication style. Like, what's the holdup here? Why am I having this conversation with you? You know what I mean?
Right. It almost to me sounds like Tarkin did not go through managerial training. It sounds like he might have been fast tracked and he was not ready for the responsibility.
It's very possible he could have failed up. Could be nepotism.
Sure.
Could also be that he just sort of like let the training run while he did other things, answered emails, moved the mouse around.
Open. Yeah.
When because a lot of those things like the knowledge checks aren't really that difficult. You just have to be active and whatever, so he kind of phoned it in for that sort of stuff. So, I look at this and I'm like, I feel like this is because we see this in other movies, right? Like, there's sheer stupidity, like in Empire Strikes Back. One of the generals, pulls at the beginning of Empire Strikes Back, they pull the Imperial fleet in too close to Hoth, so the rebels know that they're there. And Vader turns to the guy on comms, basically is like, you pulled us in too close. He's like, yes, I thought that maybe we could surprise them. And then Vader chokes him out for basically failing. Which, listen, I mean, that guy fucked up. He made a bad call and whatever. But, does that warrant, that kind of reaction? Again,
yes.
A manager's like, I'm going to kill you, so situation. So back to Rogue One.
We've also talked about, though, how HR in the Star Wars universe would have been like we talked about this before, where let's play out the actual infrastructure and all the roles and everything. Yeah, if Vader just chokes someone out because, well, I'm sorry, so he didn't complete a task that he was assigned. Yes, so you killed him. Yes. Well, Mr. Vader, we have an issue with that. That goes against our North Star prerogative.
Or they're like, okay, you should have consulted with us before you carried out this summary execution. How many strikes did he have on his permanent record? Oh, this was his third one. Oh, that's fine then. That's totally. We're in the clear. Like, we won't.
Did you put him on a pip?
Yeah, it's like, oh, he was on a PIP and he's still. Oh, we're totally good. Like we won't get sued. We're fine.
Oh, then
it's
you're
totally
covered.
Fine.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Just make sure you fill out the appropriate paperwork, just so that we can have documentation on our side, and that
we'll
way
run it through legal. We'll make sure everything is all the I's are.
And did you?
Crossed
and you promoted the other guy to his place. Great, perfect, great. So we've already got him backfilled. No problem. Like we're good to go. Excellent. Good deal. That's good. Okay, we're good. Yeah. Thank you very much. Like. Just, that sort of stuff. But I looked at this and I was like, is the root of like a lot of the problems in the empire, is it poor leadership? You know what I mean? Like
I would say it is.
Poor managing, honestly. They obviously are overly ambitious. Krennic at one point, he wants, when the Death Star is showcased to do well, Governor Tarkin takes over and says, I'll be taking over operations moving forward, and Krennic's like, no, this was me. I did this. I want the Emperor to know that I did this. And Tarkin's like, too bad. Like he just takes it over. But in this moment, I had this really dumb, like I love like the fantastical mundane is what I call it. Like
applying real world into, yes.
Like, because in a lot of ways, and you see it all over the place with pop culture stuff. Like, people talk about the Death Star exploding. It's like, how, like, there's got to be like, maintenance people that were there. There were the custodial staff like that, because that place is fucking clean as hell. Sure, they have droids that take care of some of that stuff, but there's got to be just the mundane stuff, because I mean, who determines who gets a promotion? Who determines like there's got to be some sort of bureaucratic or
what was the insurance claims that were filed during that?
Right? Because there's we learned that there's obviously arms dealers, people that are supplying this sort of stuff. So there's got to be some sort of transactions and things of that nature. But when I look at this, I was like, man, this is just a bunch of bad managers here. Like
that's
that
a great point, honestly.
That just allow themselves and honestly, it's applicable in a lot of everyday life where you see this, where you have a manager who doesn't support their employees. And what happens? You got yourself a bad team. You got a bad makeup of things. And
absolutely.
It's absolutely upsetting. And I've been seeing a string of like my algorithm's kind of set up now to catch, like there's these two British guys that I see on the regular who are reading texts and emails from people where they have interactions with their managers, bad managers, and it makes my stomach turn.
Unbelievable. So these are real texts. Yes,
real things.
Wait, I think, did we send one of these in the group chat with Slotty?
I don't know.
I think, was it the guy who was like, this is why I'm, it was the guy, it was the text from someone who wasn't saying anything. It was a lot of words. No, I did send that to you guys.
You
remember?
Sent that to me. I don't think. That was a whole bunch of nonsense.
Yeah.
But
is it those two guys? Because I think they were British, right?
I don't know. I'll have to double check that. But they essentially like get stuff from people, and like I'll give you an example of one I just saw today. Was this guy was saying his boss came to his apartment, knocked on the door, and this guy's roommates for some reason let this guy in, and he went to this guy's bedroom, opened the door, and this guy was on his day off reading a book in his bedroom, and his boss came in and started ripping his ass because this guy worked at a bookstore about some sort of book display that was up, and for 15 minutes just chewed this guy's ass, and how he said, I need you to come in tomorrow. And
you might want to rephrase that, but
nope.
His roommate let him right into his bedroom where the guy was laying on his bed, and his boss just started chewing his ass.
Just chewing his ass, just really, really laying it into him deep.
Absolutely, yeah.
It was just covered in spit and spittle.
It was a tongue lashing if I've ever seen one.
Yeah, I mean, there was no shortage of.
It's insane.
Yeah. It's just basically chew this guy out and
insane.
And there's like, I'm going to talk to corporate. Someone from corporate's going to be there tomorrow. You need to come in early tomorrow, so they're going to take you through this and everything like that. And then he left, and this guy was like, I called my girlfriend, and my girlfriend's like, you have to fucking quit like now. And so the guy quit. And most of these end with people quitting.
Yeah. Like this is like, they hit the fuck this moment.
Yeah.
Where there's no coming back. Because there's no coming back from that. You can't go into work the next day and be like, hey, how you doing, boss? And they're like, hey, Tom, good to see you. No, that's a hard stop right there. Or
there was a guy, it's like he gets a text. He's like, hey, bud. Hey, Justin. Hey, so I was wondering if you could help us out with this. We've got this thing. We're trying to get this all fixed up, and it'd be really great if you could help us out. And the response is, hey, you fired me. I don't understand what you're asking me to do because I don't work there anymore. He's like, yeah, I know. That was really unfortunate. We're so sad that had to happen. But, we could really use your help on this. We'd be willing to pay you, contract prices, to get you up there. He's like, funny. You told me when you let me go that it was a budget issue. And now you mysteriously have the money to pay me to do this as a freelancer? And they're like, listen, it wasn't about money. It was about structuring the organization, and it's really bad. And, it would just be really great if we could act professional and put the past behind us and move forward. And the guy was like, listen, I can understand that, that was structural and that all this stuff could possibly happen. And then it goes to the next text. He goes, but you can fuck off. Don't contact this number anymore. It's like, how dare you?
Yeah.
It'd be like, I know we laid you off, but can you help us do your work? He's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
That is so above and beyond unprofessional. So above and beyond.
So many of those. Like, there was another one where a guy was like, hey, just, I got a flat tire. I'm going to be 10 minutes late coming in. And the boss goes, cool. Then we'll just have to use an hour of your PTO. The guy's like, no, you don't understand. Like, I can't help a flat tire. Like, I'm just going to be 10 minutes late. And the boss is like, hey, man, I'm doing you a favor. I'm letting you use PTO instead of sick time. The guy's like, he's like, either you take your hour PTO or you're going to get a write-up. The guy's like, fine, I'll take my PTO. But by the way, I'm going to be in an hour. The guy goes, wait. I thought you said it was going to be 10 minutes. It's like, if you're forcing me to take an hour of PTO, I'm going to use my hour of PTO. I'll see you at 7 o'clock.
That's amazing. Yes. That's how you do it. That's how you fucking do it. Yes. I love that. That's absurd. Jesus Christ.
Dipshits, man. Dipshits who have a little bit of power, who feel like they have to, that or they just cannot see past any sort of rules or regulations that make sense. Why would you force someone to take an hour of PTO if they're going to be 10 minutes late because a fucking tire had to be changed? He's not like, I'm going to be there in 4 hours. I'm going to miss half my shift. He's like, I'll be 10 minutes late.
I'll be 10 minutes late. Yeah. And it's not, I'll be 10 minutes late because, I poor time management. And I thought I could go to the grocery store and get out, but I'm caught in line. No, it's my tire blew. Yeah. I was on my way to work and I was going to be there on time. Yeah.
Yeah. So many of those exchanges end with the employee being like, I quit. And then the manager going, hey, let's not be rash. Give me a call. Hey, can you call me? Hey, why aren't you answering my call? Like all of a sudden they're like, oh, fuck. I've done it. Yeah. Or there's, hey, I'm canceling your PTO for Thanksgiving. And the person goes, I put this in 4 months ago. And they're like, yeah, sorry, we're shorthanded, but I'm going to need you to pick up the slack. And it's like, why is your PTO approved and mine isn't? They're like, well, maybe if you work hard and you become a manager, then you can enjoy time off. And the guy was like, I will not be coming in. In fact, I quit. Have fun. Enjoy. Like, just.
What would put you to the point where you would have to do that?
Have to quit?
Where you would quit? You're like, there's no other option. I have to prove a point and quit. So this person's truly fucked. Like, I mean, and honestly, the manager's probably not fucked. One of his fellow employees is probably the one who's going to get fucked. But regardless of all that, like, what would something like that, where like you took Wednesday off. To go, like, let's say like, I'm taking Wednesday off and you put it in months ago and they were like, actually, you're coming into work on Wednesday. You got to log in.
You got to ask at what point in Doug's existence does this happen? Because a young Doug would probably just suck it up and do it. 40-year-old Doug would be like, no. And here's why. And I'll explain it to you. And I will involve HR and I know the proper channels to go through to deal with this nonsense. Like I would handle that sort of stuff accordingly. And I got tested with that at a previous job where someone was like challenging my character. I'm like, excuse me? Yeah. You're challenging my character? We'll see how that goes, Mr. I drink on the job. Mr. I got let go for being a dipshit. That's right. Never forget.
Do I know this story?
Yeah, I've told it.
Okay.
It was a bit ago. I can refresh your memory off mic.
That sounds good.
But I'll tell you what, an actual example was I got laid off a month in advance, and then two other people that I worked with were leaving, and I was going to have to be doing the job of 3 people. Yeah. And my boss was like, hey, maybe we could revisit you being laid off. And I was like, fuck you. I'm leaving when these guys are leaving. I'm not staying here and doing this. This is a goddamn nightmare. Eat shit.
And you also got fucked on your PTO on that job.
Because I gave him a week notice. And so then he withheld 1 week of pay because of that.
And it's like,
out of spite. He's like, well, you only gave me 1 week of notice. I'm only paying you 1 week of vacation. I was like, you can't do that. But I was like, I don't have the time or the resources to fight you over $500. So fucking take it.
I don't have the time, the resources, or truly the desire to continue to talk to you. So
No.
fuck right off.
I was like, you showed me exactly who you are. You're a piece of shit. So
that made that one easy.
Yeah, like the stuff like that where and the thing that sucks is if that kind of person is a manager, odds are the people above them are also shitty too. Because if you can't see how bad of a manager someone is, the people higher up can't see that, then you're probably fucked no matter what. Because there's no way you're going to be like going to their boss and being like, hey, guess what's happening? Because that may be the kind of culture that's like thrust upon them. And also, how many people do you know, I'm including myself in this, were an individual contributor one day and then a manager literally the next? Like,
yeah. I've seen wild promotions.
That happened to me. On Friday, I was a regular individual contributor, and on Monday, it's like, you're a manager. I had no training. I just had whatever I had experienced, and I brought to the table. I like to think I did okay. I fell short in a lot of ways, and I wish I would have had the knowledge that I have now back then. I think I did okay given the circumstances, but my shortcomings were because no one showed me or told me how to do it. They're just like, hey, you seem like a good candidate. I'm like, thanks for the vote of confidence, but I wasn't given any sort of skills. I wasn't given any sort of training. It's just like, you're a manager now. I'm like, okay.
You excelled in this department, therefore you should lead it.
Which is the biggest fallacy of all corporate America. Which is like, hey, you're good at this one job. You should lead people now. It's like those aren't correlated. It's not how that works.
Yeah, a good leader doesn't necessarily need to know how to do the specific job. They know how to They need to know how to motivate, organize, and lead people. That is truly the mark of a good. If they know the job, it is exponentially better. It helps so much. But you can go look at Ted Lasso. He didn't know soccer. Hey, he went over and he was great.
Look at that. I've known plenty of. I always go back to this. I've known plenty of coaches who've never done or excelled at the sport that they're coaching, but they are excellent coaches.
Right.
And there's plenty of players, athletes who are terrible coaches. Like, it doesn't necessarily correlate to those same things. But leading people and doing a job, like those are two very different skills. Very different. And I feel like we're just now, as a collective, understanding that those are different. Those are different things.
Yeah.
And it's frustrating to read these things, but also it gives me a little bit of oddly enough peace because I'm like, oh, everywhere's fucked up. Like this shit happens everywhere. It wasn't isolated to just my experience. I'm like, oh, there's bad managers everywhere. It sucks because there's bad managers everywhere, but there's some sort of solace in knowing that, like, I don't know. I always looked at like, oh, someone's a manager. They're qualified to do this. And now I'm like, nope.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I was talking to a colleague who was saying they just got moved to a different business unit within our company. And so they're still there, but they're dealing with a whole different set of people that they, for the last, umpteen years had not been dealing with. So they're relearning everything. And they're like, the weirdest thing is that my boss is younger than me. My boss's boss is younger than me. And I just feel like the old person now. Like, then they're like, this. It's just weird because they came from a point where in our side, everything was stacked, kind of stack ranked by age, right? In this side, they're just like, this is bizarre. Not to say that someone young can't be, 3 or 4 levels up, but it gets weird when that starts to fall into place, because you look at that and go, do they have those skills to be able to lead and organize, and will the people below them actually fall in line behind them, or is there going to be a pushback because of the perceived lack of understanding due to age?
Yeah, it's just it's tough because I've been having a lot of existential, just anti-capitalist thoughts of where, because I think a lot of it too is I'm seeing a couple of people go through the job market right now, trying to find jobs. And it's incredibly frustrating to see like these organizations that are really, really driving people to go back to the office. And I always ask, I go, what is the reason for them to require people to go back for an arbitrary amount of days? Mm-hmm. There's some people they're like, yeah, they say we have to be in 3 days a week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I'm like, why? Well, they've got offices in Chicago, California, and Ireland. And the majority of people are either in California or Ireland. I'm like, so why do you have to go in the office 3 days a week? Are you going to be on Zoom calls with people in Ireland and California? What's the point? Like, I don't get, I don't, if you can give me a good reason, I'm here for it. Like, I'm on board. But if it's just because it's like, we've got this expensive fucking real estate, or it's a control thing where they feel like, and I heard the best thing ever. Someone who's been working remote, their company, like they made them go full remote. And now the company's been pushing for them to come back a certain number of days a week. And even they admit, they're like, listen, we know it's not going to be as productive.
Right.
But we'd like you to come back. The
company is openly admitting that.
They're like, we understand we're going to lose some productivity here.
Okay.
But we want you to come back in. And this person goes, okay, I'll do that. But I'm going to be coming in at 9:30 in the morning after I drop my kids off at school. And I'm going to be leaving at 1:30 so that I can pick them up at school. So just so you know, I will work hard on those days I'm not in the office to make up for the lack of productivity on the days I'm going into the office. Yeah. But this is because I'm like, you want us to go in the office? Okay. The flexibility stays. It's not 9 to 5. It's I'm coming in late because I'm dropping my kids off. I'm leaving early to pick up my kids from school, and I'm working in between and around that. And if you have a problem with that, there's a whole bunch of butts lined up in a row. Lick each of them. Lick each of those buttholes and just lick them good. Get a full fat tongue on each one of them.
Right down the middle, the widest part, full flat fat tongue. Yeah.
Get it. Do a good service to each one of those buttholes. You know, one big lick, you know?
Yeah. Toss some salads. Get in there.
Mm-hmm.
Let me ask you a question. I'm going to play devil's advocate.
Do it.
I'm going to make you defend this, okay? I'm for the record, in full agreement with you. But I love
it. I love it. Put it on me, baby. Let's do it.
If before the pandemic, that was expected. 9 to 5 in the office. If you have to drop kids off, if you have to do X, Y, or Z, that happens around work, right? You are in the office from 9 to 5. Post-pandemic, now that we've done remote, now people have gotten used to a certain thing, and now they're coming back. It was never explicitly stated that, forever and always, obviously things change once, things can change again. So why should they bend to your schedule and be flexible when your workday has always been 9 to 5?
Because we lived in a culture that told us that our lives revolved around work. And since the pandemic, a lot of us have realized that is not the central part of our lives. And that sucks for corporations and businesses. Because Jill and I have talked about this a lot on walks that we've had since the pandemic, which is we've been struggling with this because I'm like, are we having a midlife crisis right now? Why does everything about work feel different? It feels harder. It feels like this isn't important because it's not important. Because I was raised, you go to school, you get good grades so that you can get into a good college. You do good in college so that you can get a good job. You get a good job so you can make good money. You get a fucking house. You get married. You have kids. And then you retire.
Yep.
And it's like that
got a couple years to enjoy, then you die.
That was generally the accepted path of success. Kind of general, kind of vague, but that was what was considered successful. Oh, he got a 3.8 GPA average. Oh, he's going to a good college. Ooh, he got a good internship. Ooh, he got a good job. He's making good money. Oh, he got an apartment. Or he got married. He has kids. It's like those are all societal norms. They're like, this means you're being successful.
Right.
Which is why I feel bad for any couples, but especially women who are like, oh, you're not having kids. It's considered a lack of success, right? Success can mean anything to anybody. Anyone who says, I've seen all sorts of bullshit videos too, where these, douchebag white guys are like, if I only made $430,000 a year, I would consider myself a fucking failure. I would consider myself a beta cuck if I was only making $30,000 a month. Like, what a loser. It's like, that is not reality.
Right.
That is a fantasy sold to people. I'm like, okay, what's the cost of making that? What are you giving up to make that? Because people are like, you got to be hustling all the time. Disagree. I don't want that. That's not success to me.
Right.
I grew up in a household where my dad worked his ass off, didn't see his family. And I think he preferred it that way. And that's his choice. That's the world he lived, whatever. I don't have much of a relationship with him because I'm like, I don't know who you are.
Right.
You don't know who I am because you worked all the fucking time. But that was the mentality. But nowadays, people are like, holy shit, I'm working from home. I'm taking better care of myself. I'm more active in my kids' lives. Like, I'm more aware of what matters to me. And it's not, because also, I went to high school. I went to college. I got a job. I have a house. I have a kid. And now I'm like, technically retirement's in 25 years. I'm just supposed to like power through for 25 years before I can quote unquote retire. Hopefully I'm in good enough health to enjoy it. I'm like, fuck that. I want to enjoy my life now.
Yeah.
I want to be able to go and just enjoy shit all the time. So to circle all the way back, the expectation before was based on a premise that our lives revolved around work. And I don't think that's the case. We got a taste of it for 2 years where we're like, holy shit, work is revolving around us. And now the workplace is like, you need to come back.
Desperately grasping.
And a lot of us are like, I don't want to do that. And they're like, well, enjoy the recession then. And it's like, here's all the lines of butts. Go give them a lick.
Yeah. So you're saying a fundamental seismic shift in kind of the collective conscious or the collective agreement of what is success, what defines a life. You're saying there's almost in your assessment there is this fundamental shift in how we're all kind of perceiving how life should be lived, and I'm actually fully in agreement with you on this. I just wanted to kind of dive a little deeper and get into the juicy parts of it. But
and this isn't a white paper that I read or an article I read. This is just my personal lived experience. And in talking with a handful of people and seeing some things, I've seen
your own unofficial straw poll.
Right. I've seen a lot of content online too of people talking about like calling it like corporate math. It's like, an acting manager is someone who's going to do all the responsibilities of a manager without getting paid a manager's salary. Like they're showing you all these things and people like the idea of, this is too easy to go to. This is like Nickelback jokes right now where it's just like, older generations are like, you don't feel like, it doesn't seem like you want to work as hard.
Sure.
It doesn't seem like you really want to be part of the team. It's like, part of what team?
Yeah.
I don't own stock in this fucking company. I don't own this company. You're paying me here to do a job. I'm doing my job. That's it. And the idea of someone being like, hey, we're going to promote you. Be like, I don't want that. What do you mean you don't want a promotion? It's like, I don't want more responsibility and more stress.
I don't want your life.
I don't want it. I don't want it. And the idea that, because I have to assume from our parents' generation was like, you lock yourself into a job and you tough it out for 4 decades. And whether you like it or not, tough shit, you're doing it because that's the way the world works. And that mentality is here. It's like the idea that this is a meritocracy is laughable in a lot of ways. I wish it were. But it's not. The best people don't always get the best jobs. That's not how it works. There's a lot of other things at stake that happen with that stuff. And to all of the corporate entities that are like trying so hard to get people back into the workplace, I just say, fuck off, man. Like, listen, this can be a structured settlement. Okay? This can be an understanding of I'm going to do work for you on my own terms. We'll be productive. You'll get whatever the fucking thing you get for your bonus from raising stocks or whatever, whatever you want to do. And I'm grateful because I work in an organization that fully supports a remote workplace. They thrive. They lean into it. They're like, we were never going back to this model ever again. Yeah. Like we're sticking with this. We found ourselves to be infinitely more successful because of it. And I love that. I love that they're like, we see the value in this and your work-life balance matters. Because I think some people hear work-life balance are like, oh, you're lazy. I'm like, no. Work just isn't the center of my fucking world. People who define themselves by their job make me sad. Like the people who want that title, I could never give a shit about titles. I'm like, I don't give a shit because you can call me whatever you want. It's what I'm doing. It's my job. What my job is, it's what I do that defines me. You know, like that's what that is. And so, because also I'm like, great, you do all that and then what? You retire. And guess what? You're a normal human being. You're not your job. You're not any of this stuff. Have you accumulated some more wealth so you can maybe enjoy retirement a little bit better than most? Sure. But who gives a fuck?
Right.
Nobody cares. Guess what? As soon as you retire, they replaced you.
Right.
That organization doesn't give a fuck about you.
And out in the real world, no one's calling you by your title. No one's asking you for things and for permission. You don't have any leverage. You don't have any power. You don't have any authority over anyone. You're just, like you said, you're just a person. You're just another schmuck that's walking around.
Yeah. Congratulations. And I will say this much. Past couple of weeks, I have actually gone and physically been around people from my team, which is, I haven't in the 2.5 years that I've been there. This is the first time I've gotten to do that. It has created a bond. There is value in spending face-to-face time with people, but my scheduled time together was intentional. The intention was to connect. The intention was to build relationships, to build those connections. And I found it to be very powerful. I do feel more connected to my team now after the fact than before, but it's not like now you got to come in the office and while you're trying to do work, you're going to try. It's like, no. We got together for 3 days to build these connections together, to be together, to connect. And then we go back out and we do it like once or twice a year and it fucking works.
Which is also funny because traditionally you have not been a person who likes forced interaction. So
I don't.
The fact that this worked for you is surprising to me.
I think that is also a testament to the intention behind what this was.
Okay.
The intention behind what this was not sort of some thinly veiled sort of like, let's synergize. It was literally like, we're going to do a bunch of activities, some that I was less enthused about than others, but they were all productive. It got me a chance to meet with people. It got me a chance to talk with people that I haven't really talked with or haven't really got to spend time with. I got to know. It got us like brainstorming about different things. It got us thinking about ourselves as a team, as an organization. It sounds gross as I'm saying all this, but it was a genuinely positive experience. And then we hung out. Like after this, like we went to baseball games and dinners and stuff like that. And we broke out into our individual teams and like we really got a chance to get to know each other, which I really, really, really enjoyed. And to the point of the organizations, there is no substitute for that kind of communication, in my opinion, when it comes to like team building and brainstorming and being creative. You can do it remotely over Zoom. But being in the room with someone, as we can attest to,
vastly different.
Doing a podcast live, in the same room, very different than with a screen in between us. Like I felt that energy when Jill was on here in the room with me. I'm like, oh shit, there's just like there's like a half second,
and you didn't realize we were missing. You're like, oh, that feeling, I missed that feeling. Yeah,
I was like, fuck, like we're in it, man. We're in the same room, we're breathing the same air. Like this is happening. But I will also say this. Jokes in the office. It just reminds me, we're talking about jokes. I mean, come on. Like you can't, I mean, you told me some jokes that you've heard from people. Wait, there was a guy that told really inappropriate jokes.
Oh, Brett. You know? Yes, absolutely.
He just said his name. Oh yeah, Brett.
I think when I used to talk about him, I used to try to cover his name. Fuck that. His name was Brett. Yeah.
Yeah.
He boy. He told jokes. Now, look, if you've listened to the podcast for any amount of time, you probably know that not much offends Doug or I. We're pretty open. We're pretty like, yeah, that's great. There was a joke that he told me about Girl Scouts that I actually went. It was twofold. One, I was like, that's actually fucking gross. And two, he told it to me in public. At my desk with other people around.
So you're like condoning it if you don't say, like it's very...
Well, and it was around 2017, 2018 when the whole Me Too thing really kind of caught fire and was off and away. So in my head, I'm like, that's just a gross fucking, it's a pedophilia joke. It's fucking gross.
No.
I can't like, again, not much offense. Like that's one line that I don't like. I don't like when it's crossed. And number two, from a joking perspective, obviously. Number two, I was like, if I don't say something and someone overheard this, I could be considered complicit. And I'm not about to go down that road. So I'm like, I marched my happy little ass down to HR. And that's the only time I've ever sat down and go, I need to file a report on someone. And I was
That's
like,
hilarious.
how does this work? And our HR person at the time was wonderful. And the best part, she goes, was this a Brett joke? And I was like, you already know what I'm coming in here for. Which tells me that wasn't the first time that someone has filed a complaint. Nope. So what's he still doing? He's not working there anymore, but what was he still doing working there then?
I mean, he was there up until a week ago, but I mean, it's all good. I did, because there's also, you were there for it because you filmed the talent show at that organization. There was a guy that would do stand-up every year. And
it was your Brett. That's right.
Yeah.
I remember this guy. Oh, it was not good.
Boy,
it was rough.
That was not good. I did actually, now that I think about it, I did actually hear a decent joke while at work. Let's see if I can redeem myself on this one, if I can remember all of it, but I want to try and redeem myself. All right. So, man and a woman are down in Cancun. They are on vacation, and this guy he's going to pop the question while he's down there. It's a surprise. So, he and his lady, they get dressed up. They're walking along the beach. They're going to have a nice dinner. And while they're walking along the beach, they're not paying attention. The wave surge, right? Hits them, knocks them down, knocks them both down. They laugh. They go like, ha, ha, ha. He puts his hand in his pocket and he realized that's where he put the ring. He puts his hand in his pocket. Ring's not there. He starts freaking out. And his girl's like, what are you doing? What's the matter? He's like, nothing. It's just, I think I dropped something. She's like, what'd you drop? And he's like, nothing. And he just sort of like sighs and he's like, let's get some dinner. So they go to dinner, sit down, enjoying the meal. He's really ho-hum. He's trying to be like happy and whatever, and he just can't do it. His girl's like, what is it? Are you mad that your pants got wet? He's like, something like that. And the waiter comes by, takes their order, having everything, and then dessert comes around, and the waiter comes by and he like puts a clam down in front of him. And he goes, sir, I think you'll really enjoy this. And the guy goes, I didn't order a clam for dessert. He goes, I know, sir, but I think it would do you good if you opened up. I think you'll really enjoy this. And this girl's like, why don't you just open it? He's like, I don't know, this is weird. And the guy goes, sir, I think you should open up this clam. He's like, fine. He pops it open. What do you think he finds?
The ring?
The cookie.
You, sir, are a minx. Well
Patience.
done.
Patience. Patience and willpower.
When you landed the first punchline, I was like, oh man, either I really checked out and missed a significant chunk of what you just said, and I don't think I did, or Doug just didn't. There was no punchline. Wow. Okay. Well done. I give you full marks for that.
Thank you.
Marks for that. Well done.
See, where I would fail in the past is like I would immediately tell the next part of the joke, which was, and people would pick up on someone told me the both parts of the joke. He's like, the goal is if you can put time and space between it, and if you can, the longer you can make it go, the better it is.
Oh man,
and
I want to.
It's
so good.
As soon as I told you the first part, I immediately was like, you have to remember, do not forget to find a way to work in the second part. And find a natural way to do it, because Justin is pretty intuitive. He picks up on this shit. I've tried multiple times, and he's like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, you get it. I was like, I think I got this. And we're talking about work. I'm like, I talk about jokes at work. I was like, I think I can make this work.
That was masterfully done, by the way.
Thank you. Thank
masterfully
you very much.
woven
Thank
in.
you.
Did not see that coming. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Because at the end of the day, I mean, jokes are practical, right?
They are.
You got the questions, we got the answers. All you do is ask.
I would lick the pole.
Whoops.
questions, we got the answers. All you do is ask. Practical, 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 practical. Ask Practical Doug.
Oh my god, I'm gonna buff.
I picked the wrong thing. That cut off that thing, but hey, it was good, right? It was good. You got to hear it 1.5 times.
Oh, this might be my favorite ending to an episode ever. Oh,
so good.
Fucking A, man.
Oh my God, so good. Whew. Hope you're having fun, because I'm having fun.
Oh, man. Okay, if you've never been here for Practical Doug before, it's a segment we do. Doug's a practical guy. You ask him questions, he'll give you practical answers. I can't even go through the whole thing tonight. That was amazing. So, Jesus Christ. The one plug I'll do is go to our Discord. There's a channel for Ask Practical Doug. There you can ask him questions. Tonight, we're doing another Am I the Asshole? This one is from Mediocre Wallaby 2193. Mediocre Wallaby 2193.
Wallaby.
Mediocre Wallaby 2193 asks, am I the asshole for selling my late grandparents' ranch, even though they asked me not to? Here we go. Long story short, my grandparents used to live on this ranch for almost 60 years, and both passed on the property. My mother was raised there, so were my siblings and I, so there's quite a lot of sentimental value to the house. There's also a lot of monetary value to the property. The problem is the upkeep, especially as a single 28-year-old with a moderate paid job. Someone's not a manager, which is what I told my grandfather years ago when he told me he wanted the house to be my inheritance to raise my own family like he did his. Became a running thing with him telling me I needed to get comfortable with the house for when it's mine, and then me saying I'd just sell it and him arguing with me about that. Sadly, he passed early last year, quite suddenly, and true to his word, left the house to me amongst other assets. I decided I'd try to make the old man happy and accepted the responsibility. For the past year, I've been trying to make everything work with fluctuating success, but ultimately the house is somewhat of a sinkhole. On top of that, I've been headhunted for jobs across the country with potential to move overseas within the next year. After long internal deliberations, I decided to just sell the house. When I told my sister, she lost her shit. She says I'm disrespecting the old man's wishes by selling it to a stranger and should rather let her and her husband have it. I told her she could have it immediately, as long as she could pay the market value for the house. She thinks it's unfair to ask for money for a house I got for free and offered to stay in it, and in return, she'll upkeep it herself. I was planning on using the money from the sale for a place when I move, though, so that would not work out. There's a lot of tension now, and she's even trying to rally family members against me. I get the old man wouldn't be happy with this if he were alive, but frankly and lovingly, fuck him.
Yep.
He isn't, and that's where it ends. He said, frankly and lovingly, he isn't, and I shouldn't, I shouldn't burden myself. Right? Am I the asshole?
Practical Doug is going to take a pretty straightforward thing with this. Like, hey, when you're dead, you're dead. Okay, you can wish all you want on whatever you want, but at the end of the day, if you pass on a gift, because that's what this is, you're passing on a gift to somebody, they can do whatever the fuck they want with it. Yeah. And I know there's sentimental value to this. I know whatever, if you grew up there and things like that, but at the end of the day, it's mediocre wallabies, and they can do whatever they want. His sister can be pissed about it, but I would do the same thing. I agree with him 100% in that. Listen, I was given this house. It has a certain amount of value, and I need the funds of this to pursue other parts of my life. If you want to pay fair market value for it, she's like, well, you got it for free. It's like, yeah, well, it got inherited to me. I inherited it, so it's mine.
I didn't ask for this.
Yeah. My options are selling this on the open market, or you can purchase it. I'm not just going to give it to you. Yeah. Like, that's not how this works. Like, it's mine. It has value. I'm going to sell it, and I'm going to move on. Yeah. I haven't, now to be fair, I haven't had anything like this in my life. I've never had a piece of property that has like a ton of sentimental value. And even if I did, I think the practical side of me would just be like, what's this worth? You know, like if it's difficult to be to live in and upkeep, like, I mean, especially at 28, oh my God, you're 28 years old and you're gifted something like that. It's like, fucking sell it, man.
Right.
Move on.
Well, and it's a real sticky situation that he's in, and I will admit, like, it's not easy because there's the sentimental value. There is, if if his mom, the daughter of the grandfather, is still around, all the siblings that, like, everyone was raised there and had time there and spent, so everyone's got a super fucking strong connection. Legally, it was passed to him. So it is 100% his prerogative what happens to that. Now, again, it's a very sticky situation. None of it is real. Look, there's the legal side and there's the moral or the empathetic side. I mean, at the end of the day, the legal side's going to win out. Like, empathy is empathy. The law's the law. It's pretty cut and dry. So yeah, if he wants to do this, I think he's absolutely giving her a wonderful option. Like, sure, I'll give you first dibs. I will entertain no other offers. I won't mark it up. We'll have an assessor come out, whatever he assesses it at. There you go.
It's yours.
That's it. It's yours. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
I also think it's kind of presumptuous of the grandfather to be like, I'm giving this to you so then you can now do what I want, which is you now raise your family on this piece of property. I'm like,
Well, do you want to talk about old generation trying to dictate what the new generation, how the new generation is living? Like, that doesn't fly. Yeah,
right. And now, could Mir Wallaby been like, hey, don't give this to me? Like,
sure.
Could he have done that?
And maybe
like,
he
hey,
did.
Listen. Or it sounds like he gave it an honest try of like, you know what? I'll give this a shot. I'll see what I can do. And then after being there for a while, he's like, upkeep on this is insane. Yeah. I can't do this. And this would be better to me sold than it is, me trying to manage it and upkeep it. Because, again, I don't have a lot of sentimental value for things, like when it comes to like physical aspects. And I mean, I don't know. I just haven't had that in my life where I've been like attached to something like that or whatever. I think I can appreciate the memory of something, but I'm not like, I've got to hang on to this house. Like, I love the house that I live in now, and I hope we stay here for all of Natalie's life, and we have whatever. But when it's time to move, I don't know if I will mourn the house. I don't know if I will mourn the property. I will mourn. You might be sad. Like, you might feel like, oh, I'm really bummed to leave this behind because this was great. Yeah. I think I'll be more like, it's the memories that we created here and the neighborhoods, the neighbor, like things like that, like all stuff like that. Like, I think that's the stuff, but I'm not going to be like, Natalie, I bequeath to you this house, this 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath, with an unfinished basement. Also, and if it's years down the road, you're going to sink her on property taxes. So and inheritance taxes. Yeah, she's gonna be wrecked on that. So enjoy if you want to do property taxes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like that's the thing where I don't know. I don't like the idea of dictating what anybody else does. Because it gives me Chris Cochran vibes. I'm giving this to you. Yes. Therefore, you must do my bidding because I gave this to you. Yeah. And I was thinking about that recently too. It's like, again, going through some shit with my parents. If like my mom died, she had like funeral wishes. I'm like, I'm not fucking doing anything with that. Like, I don't give a fuck. You're dead. Yeah. Like, I don't care if you want to be. I'll cremate you, but don't tell me where I'm going to fucking put you. All right. Yeah. Don't tell me where I'm going to sprinkle your ashes. All right. Yeah. I'll fucking dump you wherever the fuck I want. You're going to go in the ditch in Kirksville where you fucking belong, where you lived your life. You lived here. You're going to die here. You're going to be buried here. Enjoy it. Enjoy it. I'll throw you in the fire pit. How about that? You like that? Huh? 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 Did you have that in your will? Huh? Did you? It took a turn. Not just like, you can wish all you want, but you're going to be dead. So like, I don't care what you fucking want. And I would expect nothing less from me too. I'd be like, when I die, I would like Anima of the State to be playing in perpetuity throughout the service. Also, here's another part of playlist you can put in there. I would like very much to have Papa John's, not Domino's, but Papa John's, fed to all of the people. And I would like my computer to be given to my daughter. And all of my Steam library with all my games, saved progress. Do not delete any of my previous saves on any accrued progress. Please keep it. Do not delete it. That is all. If I have the goodwill to outlive you, I will 100% make sure that all happens. Thank you. I apprete that. Without a doubt. You've got my computer. He's like, he said don't delete it. Don't delete the files. Don't touch it. Maybe his browser history, but nothing else. Yeah, get rid of his browser history. But he said his Civ 6 save files, don't play them. It's like, whatever, man.
Absolutely. No, I agree with recently I have had a change of, not a change of heart, but as I get older and as I have a house and as you go from, being under your parents to becoming your own person. And I have realized what it means to hold on to too much, we'll say. Mm-hmm. That's the kind way of saying I choose to live in a much more minimalistic lifestyle. I've seen how things can accumulate. I've seen how things can accumulate, and where that causes frustration for the person holding on to it. Like I have firsthand witnessed, both parents saying like I'm overwhelmed and stressed by all this. And I'm like, we can get rid of it, but there is, and for a long time I held on to things because I think there was a worry that I was not expressing or that I was not addressing rather. If I get rid of this thing, the memory goes with it. And I need to hold on to this thing so that I remember that, when I drink out of this, I remember I was in, Whole Foods on Roosevelt Road when I found this on the whatever, it doesn't, no, I have that memory. So, and that's I would recommend going and checking out Tui State's short film, Moving On.
Yes.
Available on anywhere where short films are found, Instagram, YouTube, the whole 9 yards. But I made that because that was in my head. My mom had given me a bunch of old toys, and I was like, I thought about keeping one or two. And as I was playing with them, I'm like, man, this is bringing back a lot of memories. But I'm like, I have those. Those are mine. Those memories are mine, and I don't need a Ninja Turtle sitting on my shelf up here collecting dust that I gotta every once a week I gotta pull down and clean off. And so I was like, oh, you know what? Let's need to make the film about it now because if not, they're gone. So and then I donated them. I'm like, this is great because you don't have to hold on to the thing. So all of these people, all of Mediocre Wallaby's family gets to remember all the great times they had. If that house gets sold, those memories don't get sold with it. Those are
still
yours.
Yeah. And just to comment, like when I watched your short video called Moving On and I saw those figurines, I had a very strong sensory memory of cat piss. Let me tell you why. Because I had a lot of those toys.
If you say something about a cookie, I'm gonna lose my mind.
Because I went down the basement and I opened up this chest, and guess what was there, Justin? It was a cookie.
Was it cat piss?
It was cat piss. No, I had a whole bunch of those toys. I had like the Thundercats, like castle and stuff. I had a cat that pissed all over it, and so like it always, when I went to play with it, always smelled like cat piss. So when I saw you open up a case of stuff, the smell of cat, because all those toys had cat piss all over them, and I was like, Don't do it, Justin. It smells like cat piss. Like it's a trap. Don't do it. Like
that's what. So you actually, wow, like that brought back like an olfactory. That's insane. Yeah. That's really wild.
I was like, careful, man. Those are gross. That's what I thought of. Like they got Cappy on them. But we'll say Mediocre Wallaby 2193. You are not the asshole.
It is decided.
Yes, it is decided. Justin, what are you going to recommend to these fine people this week?
Outside of the short film Moving On, I would also recommend going back. I'm going back through and watching Modern Family, and I used to say this when it was running, and going back and rewatching episode 1 to the final episode, I still stand by. This is, I believe, was one of the most smartly written sitcoms in modern memory that I can at least pull out. There's a lot of sitcoms and a lot of shows that are very well written, very smartly written. The jokes that they craft in this show are, if you are at all interested in writing or filmmaking, I would recommend going and actually analyzing the scripts, because these are masters at work. And some of the jokes are so subtle that I'm rewatching and picking up on jokes that I didn't catch the first time, because they're buried, or there's like 2 or 3 layers of a joke that finally at the end, like the cookie joke, reveal itself. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, they're doing this week after week for 11 seasons. Now, I'm not going to say that every episode is a fucking stunner. As the series progressed, you could definitely see the quality degrading a little bit. It's inevitable. It was still great. There's no way that you're going to run 11 seasons and still be as good as you were in the first 4 or 5. But I would say go back and watch Modern Family if If you've never seen it, go watch it. If you've already seen it, go back and watch it again. If you're interested in writing, this is a show to study. I firmly believe that. Doug, what do you got? Have you ever seen Modern Family, by the way?
I've seen a few episodes. I haven't seen it all in its entirety, but yeah, very, very well done show. This is funny. After our last episode, where we kind of like when the MCU is a bad place, Loki season 2 is fucking great. Like, I got 2 recommendations to watch it from trusted sources, and I was like, cool, I'll check it out. It's 6 episodes. It's all out now. It wasn't going weekly. And I watched it all. I'm like, this is a good show, man. It's good. Yeah. Very creative. Really well done. To quote Noah, he's like, the Marvel Cinematic Universe should have ended after Loki season 2. Like, just call it there and be like, we're done. Like, no need to try to keep going. I was like, hey,
jeez.
Cool. Like,
so I'm interested to watch this now because that's a statement and a half.
Yeah. The only critique I'll have of this is, and I noticed this in everything when Tom Hiddleston plays Loki, there's a hair flip thing he does that always drives me crazy.
Yes, absolutely.
Or his head will be down and he'll flip up and go, or whatever. And he does it consistently. I'll give him top marks for consistency, but I'm also like, do we have to do this every time? Be like,
it's a character
the hair
choice.
flip.
Yeah.
I'm just like, okay, whatever. I thought it was very creative, very well done. And boy, what an arc for Loki. Just amazing. Like because I'm sitting there watching this, I'm like, oh man, look how far he's come. And just very well done. And
love it.
Yeah. Kudos. Hopefully the rest of the Marvel universe will be okay. We'll see. Probably not. But this was a good show. Definitely recommend it. All right, gang. Thanks for hanging out with us for another week. Be sure to follow us on all our social medias at MindGap Podcast. Thank you to all of the people who have subbed to us on YouTube, youtube.com/MindGap Podcast. Please, if you have not already, please do so because we're now on the track to 500 subs. But thank you for the 400. We appreciate you very much. Also, be sure to check out links in the description to be part of the Discord family. Check out our merch at Redbubble and check out patreon.com for ways to send us some of your money, or don't, whatever. It's cool. We love you regardless. And be sure to check out Justin online as well.
On Instagram, it's at Justin_Michael, spelled Mikel. It's the fun way of spelling it while you're in the online realm. Check us out on any service that you can find Quality Podcast. You can find us there. Like, subscribe, rate, review, share, all those things. Sharing is caring, so please do that one above all the other ones. And then twoeast8th.com on social medias. twoeast8th.com. twoeast8th on all social medias. loveandimprovfilm.com and loveandimprovfilm on Instagram.
Amazing. Well, gang, it's another week. We're glad you're here. And I want to say, Justin, thank you.
Doug, thank you.
Listeners, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And you all have a cookie.